Hi, everyone. My name is Kelvin Claveria. I'm from the marketing team here at Reach3 Insights and Rival Technologies. Welcome to Outliers. This is a weekly educational event series where we chat with research leaders and marketing experts about some of the hottest topics in the insights industry today. So today we're talking about TikTok, but before we get to that, I just want to give you guys a quick overview of the format of this event. We did this last year, but I know we have a lot of first timers today. So basically, I'm gonna bring in our speaker in the next few seconds here, and I'm gonna have like questions for him and ask him about that for the next 15 to 20 minutes. And then the last 10 minutes really are for audience questions. And so, this is a very interactive, informal session. So please feel free to share your thoughts, your questions in the chat room here. And I'll try to make sure that we capture everything at the end. And in fact, if you're game, we'd love it if you could turn on your video and your audio later so you can ask your questions directly to our speaker. All right, so our speaker today is Mark Lee. He is a senior research consultant at Reach3. In case you guys have never heard of Reach3, Reach3 is a full market research consulting firm that who is really like the leader in what we're calling conversational research principles. So they use modern technologies, including Rival, and a conversational approach to research to get deeper, richer insights and, of course, drive better business outcomes for our clients. Hey, Mark.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So to start, I would love to give everyone a quick intro about you. So obviously I was doing a bit of research before this, and I looked into your LinkedIn profile and something caught my eye. In your bio, you said, I'm gonna read here, you're just a Comic Sans girl living in a Helvetica world. And it's funny when I saw that, I thought it was funny, but also it was accurate. So to start, maybe you can expand on that.
Yeah, so, sometimes I just feel like, the world is very buttoned up and polished and, Helvetica new and Helvetica thin and whatever. And I'm more of a Comic Sans kind of girl, just kind of making my way throughout the world. I think, the way I see LinkedIn, it's quite stiff sometimes. And so I like to put a little personality in there. And I think kind of the way that we see professionalism and work going, it's like with the pandemic making everyone stay at home, then like professionalism kind of is on its way out the door, in my opinion, a little bit. Like Wall Street isn't wearing the suits and ties that they used to. So, maybe we could be a little less serious at work, a little more conversational. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I mean, plus, Barbie girl, it's a Barbie girl reference. So I love that one. Now, I'm assuming everyone is kind of aware of what TikTok is. You don't even need the TikTok app to have seen a video, right? But you're the expert here. So I'd like to get your take on TikTok. Like, what is it? What makes it so compelling? What makes it so popular?
Yeah, I personally am one of those people who downloaded TikTok at the start of the pandemic during lockdown, needed something to do. And I thought it was just something that the teens are doing to be cool. And now I use it every day. I've made a bunch of videos. Some of them have gone viral a little bit. And so I really think that TikTok is kind of the most revolutionary kind of thing we've seen in social media in a long time. A lot of the reason for that is the change in the format. So I think the big thing for Instagram and Facebook has been that endless scroll where you keep scrolling and then more stuff pops up and it just keeps generating. For TikTok, it's a little bit of that, but when you open your home screen, the video is automatically playing. You can swipe away at any time. So you can swipe up and move to the next video really easily, even on ads, which I think is a really revolutionary concept. And it really gives a lot of power or the illusion of choice to the consumer or the viewer. Another really cool thing about TikTok is it's really built around music. It started with the Musical.ly app. So people are using audio in very new formats, new ways to create content, to react to content, to duet, to lip sync, to stitch things together. And then there's this new language that kind of comes out of it. People are making memes in a different way. People are making jokes in a different way. People are sharing their experiences and their trauma and making that fun somehow. So, it's a really unique platform, I think, that Gen Z has really taken a hold of and really made it their own. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, it was interesting. I was doing a bit of research, and apparently about 6% of Gen Zs are on TikTok. That's according to YPulse. So, given the popularity of this app among young people, what are some of the lessons that brands can learn from this in terms of what Gen Zs are all about? So, what does the popularity of TikTok tell us about young consumers?
Yeah, I think one of the important things to think about is how the algorithm works, right, on TikTok. And everyone always talks about, oh, the algorithm, it's so good, it's very personalized, right? And it's a better algorithm. And I think, in part that's very true, but the key part of that is it's a lot faster. And I'll say this a bunch of times, but if you take away one thing from this, it's TikTok is social media, but extremely, extremely fast. So if you think about it, the format is, 15 seconds. It started out as 15 seconds and went up to 60 seconds. It's now, you can go up to 3 minutes, but still most content is around 15 to 60 seconds. And that means the algorithm is serving you videos if it's auto playing, right? You're going to be watching, maybe 4 videos a minute or, 200, 300 videos in an hour versus, your traditional YouTube where videos are 5-10 minutes long and you're maybe only watching 10 videos in an hour. So even if their algorithms are equal, you're feeding that algorithm, tens of times faster on TikTok than on YouTube. And similarly on Instagram, you might see videos and stuff, but it doesn't autoplay as much and you can't swipe away as easily. So, things on TikTok are just a lot faster. And so people are getting used to, sifting through content a lot easier and kind of understanding what they like and don't like, sifting through that and really getting to know themselves a bit more, and with the algorithm also getting to know them. So it's kind of interesting there. I think the main thing is, like, I feel like Gen Z gets a bad rep of, their attention span is so short, right? Because the content is so fast now. And I think there is some truth to that, but I want to challenge that idea because, if Gen Z is sifting through content really fast and there's like, an executive in a boardroom whose time is, they're always also like, like this presentation doesn't matter, let's move to the next thing, right? Like people don't talk about like executives in boardrooms as like having short attention spans, even though, they might. So I think it's more about, Gen Z in a way is very efficient at understanding what they like and dislike. And the algorithms on TikTok are helping that. And, take it or leave it for better or worse,
Yeah. I know you also have some thoughts in terms of like some myths about TikTok. Um, can you share a little bit about that? Because TikTok has evolved so much. So what are some of the misconceptions and myths about this app?
Yeah, I think people also tend to think of Gen Z as a generation that's very politically correct, right? Or, you want to tiptoe around the right thing to say and what not to say or whatever. And I think there is some truth to that. I think that Gen Z as a whole is more progressive and more understanding of and careful about the way they word things and describe things, and just more thoughtful in that sense. But also Gen Z is very much not that. Like I think a lot of the Gen Z humor is very absurdist, very Dadaist in a way. It's very a reaction to traumatic world events that are happening right now. Like Gen Z is really defined by climate change maybe destroying their entire future, right? So in one way, you have to be careful about what you say, but also nothing matters at all because the world is ending. Like there was a tweet I saw that was like, little kids are saying, when I grow up, it's like, it's 70 degrees in December. You're not growing up. like nothing matters. So I think that has made the TikTok platform a big place where people share a lot of their traumas. and there is like a sense of shared trauma as well. So shared trauma and sharing trauma kind of, and a lot of that content on TikTok does really, really well. People make a lot of jokes about kind of that. And I think historically, you know, making fun of your own trauma is a natural response. And it's what I do all the time. So that kind of dark humor is definitely not like politically correct, but it is still, you know, two things can be true, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot of it's like a mix of irony and dark humor, at least from what I've observed.
Mhm.
Yeah. So one another misconception about TikTok, I think this is partly because it started exclusively, is that it's a social network for silly dances and funny skits. But there's definitely more going on here. And in fact, in 2020, your team at Group 3 conducted a study on how Gen Zs use TikTok for activism specifically. Could you share some of your top findings from that study?
Yeah, I think like TikTok gets a bad rep for, you know, it is a very casual app, right? It is very quick and easy and fun. And in the early stages of the pandemic, it was used for, you know, sharing your sourdough, the TikTok dances that you're doing. And there's like hype houses and stuff like that. But we've seen a lot of different use cases for it. Back in 2020, we ran a study on how TikTokers are using TikTok to respond to political events. So with the Black Lives Matter protest, people were sharing educational resources and how they should support Black creators, support Black people, videos of protests and people standing up for racial justice. And probably most famously, trolling Donald Trump, TikTokers and K-pop stans kind of came together to inflate the numbers of his Tulsa rally back in June 2020. And so because of that, I think that was one of the first instances where people kind of took a look back and realized, you know, you do need to take this app seriously. Like this is a silly app by nature, but the collective power of Gen Z there can troll the president, you know, that's never been heard of, right? Like, and I think there's a lot of power, and Gen Z through in that moment kind of recognized that, looked at themselves and said, you know, we are it. We're next. You know, this is one way that we can do that. Like TikTok is just one format in which we can share our experiences and organize. So we saw that as well. Sharing educational resources, organizing, and you know, really producing activism beyond something merely performative. Learning more about yourself and purposely going out and finding creators who are doing the work and putting forth educational content.
Yeah, cool. Now, you know, that was like a year, more than a year and a half now. So just curious about the evolution. Obviously, a lot of has happened since then, right? So, yeah, are Gen Z still using TikTok for activism or to educate themselves? How has that evolved?
Yeah, certainly. I think it kind of ebbs and flows with world events. Of course, lately the war in Russia, the war in Ukraine from Russia has been on TikTok a lot, and there's a lot of talk on whether there's misinformation out there. TikTok has a lot of concerns about, like, you know, any other social media, about whether they're spreading disinformation or enabling the spread of disinformation. And TikTok has historically had a moderation problem as well. So that has led a lot of Black creators to leave the platform, actually, because they felt that the algorithm was maybe shadow banning them or not suppressing their content, right? And not sharing it as widely as maybe it used to. We're seeing something similar with Ukraine. There are Ukrainian creators who feel very similarly, and Russia itself is also using, you know, a lot of bots to wage war on the internet, right? So it's pretty serious when you think about it. It's like, this is not just a silly dancing app. We are fighting digital war on the internet, and it's on TikTok in 15-second videos. There are creators who, you know, are sharing videos of what's happening in Ukraine, and at the same time, Russian bots are reporting the account, right, as fake news. There are similarly fake Russian accounts that are taking videos out of context, videos that maybe were filmed in like 2014, 2017, before the war, and saying like, and reframing it and making it look like something that it's not. So of course, you can't believe everything you see on the internet. That's I think a tried and true statement, but when you're in it as immersive as TikTok, it can be hard to kind of distinguish that. And so there really is a misinformation problem there and a moderation issue. I think TikTok just needs a lot more people, like real humans for now, to kind of do that moderation. But there are lots of concerns for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting because like obviously like misinformation has been an issue on other platforms in the past, Twitter, Facebook, all of them. But you would think because TikTok is the visual platform that it wouldn't happen there. But it's very interesting some of the examples that you gave.
Yeah, it's very easy to think that video is very truth telling, right? Like you captured it on video, right? But naturally on TikTok, there's plenty of filters. You can edit all sorts of stuff. You can edit a video to be whatever you want. There's like deep fakes and stuff that people are really worried about. There's, you can do all sorts of things with video on the internet. And because you're on a TikTok platform where the videos are auto playing, it's kind of hard to take a step back. Like maybe you have to tap the screen to pause it, right? And then fact check it yourself or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. A bit of a left turn here, but I want to make this tangible for people here. We have a lot of marketers, market researchers. So first and foremost, for marketers, what are some of your tips in terms of how they can actually succeed in on TikTok? Because what you do on Twitter and Facebook, like you can't just take that and put it on TikTok, right? So just curious about some of the examples that you've seen maybe that have worked really well on TikTok.
Yeah, I would think about what each social media platform is doing, right? I think Facebook is kind of like is what everybody kind of has a Facebook, and it's like all of your connections are on Facebook, right? Like everyone from high school is there, and like everyone and their mom literally is on Facebook. So that's kind of what Facebook will help you reach a kind of a really broad audience. Instagram is very curated, of course. Twitter gives you like really fast, feedback, and mostly in tweets and words, like short characters, right? But TikTok is really good at being very visual, right? And very good at audio. It's built on music and sharing music, right? So when you're thinking about how do you use TikTok, it's really creating a very visual and audio centric message that you want to send to people. And I also want to think about, because TikTok is so easy to use, and they've made video creation so easy for the average consumer. That means, like everybody can be a creator. I think with YouTube, it's gone to a point where it's very difficult to kind of get in the door. There's a really high barrier to entry for YouTube now, where you have to have like the best camera video equipment. You have to have really high quality videos. Your content needs to be 10 minutes long if you want to get an ad on it and get that sponsored content so you can make money on it. But with TikTok, it's very authentic. People post 15-second videos and they can be edited or not. And sometimes the ones that you don't really put too much effort in are the ones that go viral because they are the ones that are most realistic. And they show, a very true sense, a slice of life, right? So thinking about how to work on TikTok and kind of the generation that uses TikTok, it's really about that authenticity, really about thinking, these people that I'm talking with can be creators as well, which means maybe video insights are really valuable from them. And this is a generation that won't shy away from creating videos. You can get really rich qualitative feedback from Gen Z because they're really used to creating videos on TikTok, or at least watching them, right? And you have to be really authentic and also think about what you're asking people to do. So in my line of work, it's, a lot of survey work and a lot of in-depth interviews and qualitative stuff. And if you kind of approach someone with, a question like, hey, do you have 5 minutes to take this survey? That's not going to cut it. Like they could be watching TikToks instead. I could be watching Doja Cat talk about whatever for 15 seconds. I could swipe away from that like really easily, and they're used to this ability to just swipe away from something. So but if you think about it in a different way, like these are the people you want to reach are co-creators with you. They are people who create video content very easily. They want to share their opinion and maybe aren't being heard, and people do want to share their opinion. They won't take a survey to do that, but people will comment on a stranger's TikTok video, right? Like a comment is basically is you sharing your opinion about something. So if you approach this generation more like, hey, we want to hear what you have to say, you're creative, help us develop the next big thing. We're on this platform together, that is the next big thing. So let's co-create something.
Yeah, absolutely. I know you guys at Reach 3 always try to experiment with different ways of recruitment and stuff like that. I'm just curious if you have any thoughts on using TikTok for social sampling or anything like that. Like, what can you share?
Yeah, I think we haven't tapped into it too deeply just yet, but I think going in, you kind of need to know what demographics are on TikTok. It leans heavily young children and teenagers, right? But that doesn't mean like old people aren't on there either. There are plenty of millennials masquerading as Gen Z like me. And I think that there is a lot of potential to kind of maybe build an ad and then have that be your segue into getting people to take a survey or to chat with you on something or to do an interview.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the social their ad platform is fairly new, but I think it's definitely something that both marketers and market researchers should really pay attention to. Yeah, okay, we're gonna get into Q&A here in a sec. I have a few standard questions, rapid fire questions for you. Not necessarily, actually not related to TikTok at all.
Sure.
So the first one is, what's your favorite part about being a market researcher?
Oh, I think market research is great because, you'll always have job security. Like companies will always have questions and they'll always need answers. So there's always going to be a need for market research. And the best part is, you get to kind of delve into like real numbers, real stats, or interview real people and talk about, what makes them tick, what is the driver behind something. So I think being able to kind of explore topics in a scientific way with quantitative data and also like a narrative driven qualitative way really is a great way to explore business questions.
Yeah, love that. Okay, complete this sentence. The future of market research is?
It's informal, it's casual, it's Comic Sans, it's, I think survey research has been historically very stuffy, right? And it's been very, take a survey on a scale of 1 to 5, how do you feel? And I think the future of research is not that. Likert scales are pretty good at standardizing things, but they're less good at bringing life to something and bringing a story to something. And I think really the future of market research is very story driven, very narrative driven. And in a way to do that with this next generation is drop the fake professionalism act, right? Like be casual, be authentic, be yourself. And I think that'll work.
Yeah. Okay, final question before I ask audience questions here. Who are the people and insights do you admire the most and why?
I think it's people who are doing things differently, people who are taking a look at the old way of research and kind of turning it into, how do we talk to Gen Z in a way that relates to them? So kind of the folks at Rival platform are kind of building this technology that makes it a lot more conversational. It looks like a text message chat. At my own company, I think Lee, Kim, and Sean are three individuals who I look up to every day, and they kind of look at how do we take those learnings and kind of package it up for market research professionals at big broad companies as well. So kind of leaders in tech and people who are really thinking about what is something different that we can do in this space, you know?
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I'm gonna open it up to audience here. I got a few DMs for you to answer. But before I do that, I am just gonna drop a chat in the chat box here. If you guys don't mind just answering it very quickly, it will really give us some good feedback about the session. Okay, so the first question here is really about the future. What are your thoughts on the future of TikTok and social networks in general?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think recently it just came out that TikTok is moving towards 10-minute videos, which I think is very interesting. And I think that's a move to try to compete with YouTube, which I think is personally a mistake. I think, you know, the algorithm, as I mentioned, is trained to be really, really fast. And if you start having people watch 10-minute videos, your algorithm is going to slow down. It's not going to be as personal for the user. It could be better for creators because then creators can, you know, focus on creating a 10-minute video. And then if TikTok starts to tie compensation to that more, you know, in a better format than they are doing currently, then it could be better for creators. But your platform is going to slow down unless you create some better metrics on 10-minute videos to, you know, maybe you weight the watch time there as higher or something like that. I think it's an interesting move by TikTok, but really, really risky, and it'll be interesting to see where it falls out there. I think for the other social media platforms, I think it's a difficult time to be competing against TikTok, you know? I think TikTok really has carved its niche and, you know, is leading it's where Gen Z is. But I think the other side that we haven't really talked about is monetization and how creators are using both TikTok and Facebook and Instagram and the other ones. And I think Hank Green has a really great video about it. But basically, TikTok has a creator fund, which is a finite pool of money that goes out to, you know, whoever gets the most views that day. Whereas, you know, YouTube is doing something like ad sharing where creators get 55% of the ad revenue. So it's, you know, growing the pie versus a slice of the pie. And I think TikTok will continue to clash with creators there until they can properly pay creators. And then, so really what TikTok should do is if the platform as a whole grows, that whole creator fund needs to grow proportionally instead of just being a finite pool. So I think that's one of TikTok's biggest kind of issues with creators. And kind of we'll see how monetization falls out from there. If will creators leave the platform, will the top creators leave? They make more money on Facebook and Instagram, you know, who's to say, you know?
Yeah, are a lot of TikTok creators able to work directly with brands now, like kind of like what's happening on Instagram? Is that
Yeah,
a big
absolutely.
thing now?
Yeah, you'll see sponsored posts on TikTok all the time, product placements and stuff like that. You can swipe away very easily on those as well. So I don't work at TikTok, and so I can't see behind the scenes on if those ad placements actually work or not. I certainly have skipped past quite a few sponsored posts, but you know, there are ads that work and I stick around for all of them, you know, sometimes.
Yeah, nice. Okay, here's another question. What's the latest Gen Z trend us olds should know about?
Oh, the latest Gen Z trend. You know, I think it's the one that I really like right now is one taking an old song, the Gangnam Style song by Psy, and there's like a remix of that audio, and then people like are overlaying their personal traumas on it, and it's very not safe for work, and it's very it is that very dark humor, right? So that's one of the biggest trend audios right now. I think what we're seeing is a move towards less seriousness, right? Um, just being really authentic and really discovering yourself and just kind of being authentic. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Last question here, unless we get a few more here, but we're at time, so I think this is good. What's your take on Instagram? You mentioned the 10-minute 10-minute TikToks are now available, but it's actually interesting because almost in the same week, I think, like Instagram announced that they were retiring IGTV, right? So just curious about what your take on Instagram, whether it's still relevant to Gen Zs, maybe it's more relevant to millennials, but what's ahead for Instagram?
Yeah, I think Instagram is kind of in an identity crisis a little bit. They with under Facebook, they have a lot of stuff going on, right? Like, are they a shopping app? Are they a Reels app? Are they the original picture app, right? And I think it's a struggle to balance all of that and to kind of identify, what is the strategy that should, like, will work. And it's, hard to predict the future, of course. I think the way it's moving is towards short form content, and I think that is the right direction, right? Like, TikTok has shown that short form content is kind of what is appealing to this next generation, and it's what feeds the algorithm the fastest. It's what is, putting social media on like steroids, kind of. So I think moving towards short form content is a good move, and the way that they are paying creators is certainly better than TikTok. So people make a lot more money making reels than they do making TikToks, because it is, not a finite creator fund that TikTok has, right? I think it'll be really interesting to see, Instagram has become more casual in some aspects, right? Like, people have said, we made Instagram casual again, but at the price of, now I have to look good when I'm casual too. So like how authentic is it really? And there's, discussion of, a lot of people are creating a second Instagram account, a Finsta, right? So there is that desire for a place to showcase something more casual, something more authentic. That happens on TikTok. Instagram is finding different ways to keep up, and I think they're playing with some things. Sometimes I see my Instagram format change a little bit, and I think might be part of a test group or something. But I see sometimes, like, do you want to make an account that is, with a close friends list, right? And like, that's kind of what a Finsta already is, right? Or and at the same time, there is a big push for shopping on that platform. So balancing, being authentic and casual with literally just online shopping is kind of a difficult space to be in. And I'll be honest, I have bought quite a few things on Instagram in the past year or so. So, it's working, at least for me. So
Okay, I have an old person question, but what's a Finsta?
a fake Instagram, yeah.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's your Insta profile is like what your curated profile that you present to others, right?
Right.
And then your Finsta is typically, your core friends, maybe like 10 people, 30 people, who knows. Different from just like your close friends list,
Yeah.
but like a whole, because with a second Instagram account, you want to be able to post things, right? And not just close friends on your story or something.
Yeah, it reminds me a lot of this idea of creating an alt account on Twitter, right? Like, you have one that's more professional, and then one that,
Yeah.
not so professional.
Yeah, for me, I just mix all of it, and my LinkedIn is what you see is what you get.
Nice. Okay, we got a last minute question here. So, what does Gen Z think about NFTs?
Oh, I think the general feeling on NFTs is no one really understands it, and it might be too early to kind of ask this question in a sense. A lot of people just don't really get it, and I am in that group. I think it's there are a lot of issues with NFTs in terms of, it's run by Bitcoin, so there's like some environmental impact issues. We know Gen Z is really passionate about the environment, and it's like one of the biggest existential threats to that generation, right? Or to all of us, really, but particularly Gen Z. So if it's running on cryptocurrency, which takes a lot of energy to mine, then NFTs can be, are they part of the problem? Maybe. There's security concerns with that. I think Biden just released something yesterday about like the United States policy on creating more rules around cryptocurrency and around NFTs. I think it's just a risky space to be in. I think Gen Z would want to get involved because there is like a lot of interest in, personal investment and, growing your career. But at the same time, NFTs are a little expensive currently, and you have to kind of go get crypto first to buy
Right.
NFT, right? So yeah, I
Yeah.
think right now it's more for NFTs are more for like richer millennials, and
Right.
then but as Gen Z kind of go out on their own and start working in the workforce more, having that disposable income, it could be something to watch.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thanks so much for your time, Mark. If people want to get in touch, how should they do that?
Yeah, hit me up, LinkedIn, at my email, mark.lee@reach3insights.com. Talk to Kelvin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm here.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, and thanks everyone for holding on. We retain most people actually, so that's great. And if you guys have any questions, let us know. Otherwise, hopefully I'll see some of you guys next week when we talk about creating market research reports that users of insights will actually use. So yeah, see you guys next week. Thanks everyone.
Thanks, y'all.